I have the topic of Bitcoin and blockchain technology, and I'm actually very interested in it. And yes, why? Because actually I worked 1.5 years in it's a fintech company, and we were working on a mobile payment application. And I think since that day, I'm very interested in how the mobile payment industry is developing and how we will exchange value in the future. So yes, I have the topic of Bitcoin and blockchain technology, and I had more or less a question, yes, if it is democratizing money and if it's a threat to bank. And I think to understand this, first of all, I will just explain the Bitcoin technology and the blockchain technology very briefly. So yes, to start with this whole topic, I would like to start with how we are sending money, not money, but data right now. So if I'm sending you a sweet selfie of myself via WhatsApp to you, it is the case that I'm sending you only a copy of the data. So you don't receive the original photo. I have still the original photo file on my smartphone, and you will receive a copy of it. And this is true for not only selfies, but it's also true for the PDF document I sent you, for example. So everything we are sending right now is actually most of the time a copy, and it's not the original document. And of course, if we are coming to the topic of money, this is a problem because we cannot send a copy of money. So, for example, if let's say I want to buy this Volvic bottle there for €2, and I have digitally in my PayPal account something like I have €2, and now because actually €2, the digital money is just some kind of computer code, like it's a code, and digitally you can easily copy it. So I can just copy it. I have exactly the same amount of money, exactly the same money, and now I can spend it twice. I can keep one share of it and I can give you €2, or I can buy this bottle and I will give you €2 for the other bottle. So I can spend the money twice, and this is of course a problem when it comes to money. And this is called the double spending problem. And to prevent this double spending problem in the digital area of today, we have always a middleman in between us. So if I want to buy your Volvic bottle, then in between us is a middleman. And this will be, in the case of PayPal, it will be PayPal and a few banks. Or if we are just having a usual bank transfer, the bank will stand in between us. Yes, it's also called a trusted third party, because if I don't know you and you don't know me, we don't trust each other. And the bank is there to establish some kind of trust between us, because we are both trusting our bank, or we need to trust our bank. And this is then called the middleman or the trusted third party, which is always in between us. And I want to talk a little bit about a MasterCard payment example. So if I would buy, for example, the bottle of water with my MasterCard, this will look like this. So it's not that you get the €2 immediately between our two persons, P2P, but it's going to the merchant, and then we have actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different agencies in between, and there are actually 4 intermediaries or 4 trusted third parties in it. And this would be, for example, my bank, the merchant's bank, then we have MasterCard and the settlement bank, so 4 different intermediaries are in it. And this is, of course, as you can probably see, is very complicated. It costs a lot of money and it's very time consuming. So if we are having a PayPal transfer in the USA, it will cost us $30 plus 2.9% of every transaction. And a MasterCard payment, for example, will settle after 2 full days, not after a few minutes or maybe a day, but it takes 2 days for the payment to settle. And this is, of course, not really up to date, I would say, because if I'm sending you a WhatsApp photo, you receive it in a second. And if we're making a payment in today's world, it settles in 2 days. So this is, of course, very long. And this all changed on 31st October 2008, because we don't know actually who he is, but his name is Satoshi Nakamoto. It's an alias. It might be a guy, it might be a woman, or it might be a group of people. But yes, Satoshi Nakamoto, he published a scientific paper to a cryptographic forum on the internet, and it's called Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And what this paper allowed us was to send money directly from one peer to another without an intermediary, without a bank in between. So this changed with this paper, and Bitcoin is, maybe you know it already, is a cryptocurrency. But Bitcoin is not the only cryptocurrency. So there's Bitcoin, there's Ethereum, Ripple, Litecoin, and these are just a few examples of the biggest cryptocurrencies. There are basically hundreds of cryptocurrencies out there. And if you have the skills, you can also develop a cryptocurrency yourself. Because Bitcoin's protocol, it's a scientific paper, it's open source, and you can just go to bitcoin.org and look at the code, and you can create your own cryptocurrency actually. And yes, so what's the difference between cryptocurrencies and our current euro or US dollar? So the difference is that cryptocurrencies are not controlled by governments, institutions, persons, and cryptocurrencies are also not backed by gold or silver or other precious metals. So now you might think, okay, what's behind it? What's the value behind cryptocurrencies if there's no government controlling it, no central bank, and no metal? And the answer is cryptography. And cryptography is some kind of subdivision of the mathematics. It's quite complicated. And yes, I want to talk a little bit about this cryptography in the Bitcoin system and the blockchain. And yes, to explain it, I want to start with mining. Maybe you already heard a little bit about mining, that you can mine Bitcoins and something like this. So if, for example, I want to buy this water bottle right now by using Bitcoins, then it will look like this. This will be me, for example, and it's just looking like a very tough password actually. So it's just numbers and yeah, some letters, and this will be you. And then it will be like 1 Bitcoin. I'm sending you 1 Bitcoin. And now this is just one transaction which takes place right now in the world, but there are thousands of other transactions. So what miners do, their miners are actually like me and you, but they have very, very good computers at home, and they are actually just running the software of Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency. And what they do is they collect all payments which are actually right now taking place in a window of 10 minutes. They're collecting all payments, and they try to put it into one block. They just collect all payments, put it into a block. Like you can imagine it like a box or like an Excel spreadsheet. They just put everything in it. And yeah, to close the box, so to say, to close the box, they calculate a proof of work. And the proof of work it's a cryptographic puzzle. It's some kind of Sudoku puzzle, because to solve it, it's really hard to solve this puzzle, and they need massive amounts of computing power. But yes, because we have not millions, but hundreds of thousands of miners worldwide, they are actually right now the largest and the biggest computing power worldwide. And yes, so they are competing to prove this proof of work, to close this box, and one miner will win. And the miner who wins will get some Bitcoins to get compensated for this kind of work. So now the miners have closed this box of all transactions which took place in 10 minutes. What will happen now is that this box will just be added to a chain of blocks. So let's say the latest block is right now mined, and it will just be added, like it's the latest block right now, and it's just added. And now this block continues more or less endlessly until the very first transaction of Bitcoin took place. This is the blockchain actually. And what's also special about the blockchain, about Bitcoin, is decentralization. Here it says peer network of nodes. This means that the blockchain, if we are sending Bitcoins between each other, the Bitcoins are actually, everyone who's sending Bitcoins holds the complete blockchain on its PC, on my MacBook, on the smartphone, or on your Windows PC. If you are sending Bitcoins, you have the full blockchain on your PC. And because we have millions of users worldwide, we have this Bitcoin blockchain, this protocol, we have it on millions of computers and devices worldwide. So it's not on a single server. Like if you are if you're making a bank transfer, your bank has a server. It's a single location which can easily be hacked. Or if you're doing a PayPal transfer, PayPal will have a few servers worldwide, and all our transactions will go through this server. And of course, this is also a very easy target for hackers and stuff like this. So a main point of blockchain technology is security, because now we can imagine this is a blockchain which is going endlessly until the first day of Bitcoin. And now let's say we want to hack a transaction in this block. There are 1,000 transactions in this single block, and we just want to alter or change one single transaction. Like, I want to hack right now that I didn't pay you €2 for the water bottle. I want to change it somehow, and therefore I would need to hack the whole block. But I would not only need to hack this single block, but also every other block which precedes this single block, because every block here also includes this transaction. So I would need to hack this block, this, and this, just to hack one single transaction in this block. But now the next problem for hackers, because these blockchains, it's not on a single server or a single PC, but it's on million devices worldwide. And it's not only on millions of devices worldwide, but it's also encrypted with very, very hard encryption methods. And yeah, this is also making the life of hackers pretty hard. And then the next thing is we have the miners who are working all the time, 24/7, 365. The miners are working in the blockchain system, and they have an eye on what's happening in the blockchain. So they are mining these blocks, and they are calculating this proof of works. And if they see that there are some strange things happening, they will see it most likely. So if you want to hack the blockchain, if you want to change one transaction, you need to, first of all, hack this block, which is pretty hard encrypted, and then you need to hack all preceding blocks. Then you need to hack millions of devices worldwide, and then you need to crack once again the encryption of these millions of transactions, and then you have some kind of police which is watching you, and these are the miners. So yes, security is a very important point for it. Then we have, of course, advantages of the Bitcoin system right now is we just had the fees for PayPal, for example, and now this is an example of a PayPal transfer of $600 roughly. And it will cost, if you use PayPal, around $18 of fees. And if you do the same transaction by using Bitcoin, you will only pay around 26 cents. And this is a number of like 4 weeks ago, and it's always changing. It might be 18 cents now, or maybe it's a little bit more expensive, but it's about 26 cents. And now the next advantage of Bitcoin is the settlement time. So if you pay with this by using your MasterCard, the payment will settle after 2 days. And we don't even want to talk about international payments, because the settlement can take several days or even weeks. And yes, with Bitcoin, it doesn't matter if it's just a tiny transaction or if it's a huge international transfer to Australia or wherever. It will take the settlement will only take 10 minutes, then every payment is settled. And then we have more advanced cryptocurrencies, because Bitcoin is actually the oldest one. We have more advanced cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, and the settlement in this system takes place within seconds and not days or minutes. So yes, not only me, but many banks and fintech experts and politicians and cryptography experts, they all saw that this blockchain technology is the next generation of the internet, basically. And also banks saw this, and they saw it like already a few years ago. They started thinking, hey, this is dangerous for us maybe, because this technology, we are not in it anymore. They don't need a bank anymore to make transfers, or it even goes beyond this transfer only. So they had the question, can we be replaced? Then there was an IBM study from the IBM Institute for Business Value, and they found out that 91% of surveyed banks, the surveyed banks were the 200 biggest banks in the world, are investing in blockchain solutions, so that it's 2018 ready to go. And actually this number increases to 100%, so all 200 biggest banks in the world plan to implement blockchain technology by 2020. Now, I would say that digital money is democratizing money, because we don't need to rely on huge banks which are in between us, or central banks which can just devalue our currencies and stuff like this. So I think it's a huge opportunity, not just for us, for businesses or for banks, but also for the world society, because it will get more democratized, and especially also for you. because right now it's still, the blockchain technology is where the internet was in 1990, or right now I think it's more like if you invest in Bitcoin right now, you are seen more as a nerd, or if you're a fan of it, you're a nerd. And I think this is actually happening right now, that when you had a PC in 1990, it was very hard, and you didn't really understood the PC. It was huge, it was slow, and you didn't really understand what it's all about. But there were people who saw, okay, this is going to be huge, and the same was true for the internet. And I think this is not true for the blockchain, because it will, revolutionize a lot of things we are doing. And here are some sources which you might consider reading if you're interested in it. And that's basically it. If you have some questions, you can.
Marius, thank you very much.
Yes, I think your opinion is that Bitcoins will gain of popularity, and how fast do you think they will grow? Because I would more trust on PayPal instead of Bitcoin.
So you want to know Bitcoin. So I personally think Bitcoin is not the future. So Bitcoin is just the very first cryptocurrency which existed, and Bitcoin was basically the birth of this blockchain technology. I think the most important part of this is the blockchain technology behind Bitcoin. Bitcoin is great for making a few transactions, and I think it's great because it was the first cryptocurrency ever. But I don't think that this is the future, because we have more advanced cryptocurrencies already out there. I think the hardest right now is Ethereum, Ethereum.org, because this is not just a currency, but it's a world ecosystem of everything. There you can make, okay, this will be 10 other presentations, but it's about smart contracts. These are contracts. If you do a payment of Volvic bottle, then the smart contract, as soon as you give me the bottle, the smart contract, which is like an intelligent contract, it will automatically settle, and you will automatically receive the money, for example. I think this Ethereum, for example, is a huge, it will have a huge impact, and also huge banks are working with it, like JP Morgan. They are all experimenting with the Ethereum platform, and I think it needs some time till you can try it out. Bitcoin right now is very complicated.
Did you ever try it out?
Yes, I tried it out.
And did it work, or?
Yes, of course it works, but the user interface of it is very complicated. It's like the very first web browser. Like, you don't really understand what you're doing. Then you have, as I showed you shortly, you have Bitcoin addresses, which are in PayPal you use your email address. It's just your email address. You can remember it, or you can even use your phone number. You always know your phone number. And in Bitcoin is this huge address, which might be 32 characters, and you can't remember it. So this is one pain point of Bitcoin. Or then you need you need a Bitcoin wallet, and this program is also not very user friendly. There are some flaws, but I think when they are improved, that this will take off, this cryptocurrency thing. Yes, Tim.
So the main reason to use it is that correct? That you don't have a third party in between. Is that what you said, or did I?
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
But basically, you have a third party. A miner is the third party, isn't it?
No, the miner is not the third party. There's no one between us.
But a miner actually edits, or like does the transaction or closes the box, as you said, and there is some guy in the middle, isn't there?
They are not between us. So if I'm sending you money, it's P2P. So you are getting the money directly, and there's no one who's getting the money first. So I'm not sending money to the miner, and I'm not sending money to a pool of money. I'm sending money directly to you. So you receive the money actually immediately. It's just about the settlement of the payment. So the miners, they just collect once again all payments which take place. It's more complicated than this, of course. So they collect it, and then after they calculate the proof of work, it just means that this is true. It just means this is true. This happened within the last 10 minutes. This is true. This will be added to the blockchain. But they are not in between us. It's more like maintenance. They are looking after the blockchain. Yes.
My question also kind of related to the miners, because you have this big topic of security from hacking. But what if the miners themselves are kind of want to change something, or I know, do something? Maybe they're the hackers.
So the blockchain technology works as far as more than 50% are honest. So if suddenly 50.1% of the world population or of all users are becoming criminals, then the blockchain is not working anymore, if this is your question.
Yeah, more like the miners themselves, if they are
the miners,
if they want to do something about the process, like they see the process goes from one person to the other, but if they want to kind of do something back to it, I don't know the word right now, like...
They don't have any influence between the transactions, the same as Tim. They don't have anything to do with the transactions. They are basically just maintaining the blockchain, and by calculating proof of work, this is more, it's very mathematical, like they're calculating with huge computers this proof of work, and their work is limited to this. They're just trying to fix like a Sudoku puzzle, or you have 6 dices and you wanna dice a 6 with all 6 dices. You have to imagine it like this: a Sudoku puzzle or dices or somehow like this. This is their task. They don't have to do anything with the payments. They're just maintaining the blockchain like this. I hope it's clear.
What is quite interesting about this technology, I mean, it has the potential like to being a threat to the banks, because they kind of take away all this transaction money the banks are currently making. Nevertheless, this technology has the potential to be used also for securities handling. I mean, today if I buy shares, it takes 2 days until I actually have the shares in my depot finally. And there is also something. There are some research studies I read that there is also cost saving potential in certain areas, about 20 to 30%. So this is actually something which might be a positive thing in the end of the day.
For banks, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Nevertheless, you stated that almost all of the banks are currently preparing for this. I mean, you refer to the study stating or looking at the 200 largest banks. I'm absolutely sure that all the small and medium-sized banks are absolutely not engaged in this topic
200 biggest, okay.
today. So, I mean, for all the Sparkasse Volksbank, which is in Germany about, 75% of the market probably, I don't know. And even Nationalbank, we actually discussed this topic in the supervisory board. We discussed it quite intensively. But, for the smaller banks, it's actually not that easy to get into that stuff. At the current state, it will change over time, definitely.
Yes. I mean, it also goes beyond of banks. Only blockchain technology can use it for example, securities. I think this is the main focus of banks right now, because it's very complicated to settle security purchases, for example, and the blockchain technology will simplify everything, and you can, if you buy a security or a bond or a stock, it will be settled within seconds, as Ethereum. Yeah, Ethereum makes it possible, basically. They are working on this. So Ethereum is basically a programming language which you can use for everything. And it's also true for example, it's a popular example is Airbnb or Uber, because Airbnb and Uber, what the companies are doing is basically nothing. They're just providing us with a platform where all people are signing up and providing their houses or their cars or their services. And what blockchain is able to do is they will just cut out all the big companies which are valued with billions of dollars. They can just cut it out, and if I want to have a Uber ride with any one of you, I can just go to a blockchain database, basically, and then I can look up who is next to me, who is available, who is charging which fees, and what kind of car does he have, which kind of ratings did he achieve in the last days, and stuff like this. So, for example, it will disrupt many industries, I would say. Yeah, Arwan?
Yeah, I also have one more question. You mentioned that with traditional PayPal as a payment method, you have to pay a fee to PayPal for the actual transactions. But there are also transaction fees for Bitcoin. So if you don't have a middleman who receives the transaction fee.
Yes, good question. So it's really a good question, because miners, it's a really hard work what they're doing, because the more miners we have, the more complicated this task gets. So the Sudoku puzzle or whatever, it gets more and more complicated the more miners we have. And right now we have a huge amount of miners worldwide. and actually you need a huge amount of PCs to really solve this puzzle. And if you have these huge PCs, like they are really this size times 10 maybe, so huge PCs, they are solving this task, and this of course uses a lot of energy. So the whole transaction fees, everything 100% goes to the miners. So that they pay, for example, they have a little bit of profit, of course, the miners, otherwise they won't do it, but they can also pay the electric bill with it. So no questions anymore.
Marius, thank you very much for your interesting presentation.